afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all. Fuck it. I'm just going to edit this bit out. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of DIY Rock. Here with me today is Trenchgun.
What's going on, people?
Oh, man.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh.
I'm going to have to edit the shit out of this.
That's all right.
So, no, it's all right. It's my fault. So, give everyone a bit of an introduction. Give them some of the deets. Bit of banter along the way.
Well, Trenchgun, my actual name is John Pablo Torres, or Juan Pablo Torres. This is a two-man act. My buddy John Lucero, who is not here with me today because he had to work, is also involved. He plays bass, does programming and production. I also play bass, but I also do rhythm guitar, vocals, and production. We're both drummers. We're both from the east side of Los Angeles County. He's up in Hacienda Heights. I'm down here in Paramount. We've both been doing this for off and on for about 30, 35 years. So between the two of us is a really old guy that's been doing music for a long time.
What's cool as well, we kind of have a how would you say, like doppelgangers across the pond. We've led very similar lives.
We have.
Yeah.
We just had one of those moments too where it's like, is this the army?
Yeah, literally.
Is this what we are?
We literally just need to do an army podcast one day. Just a whole hour just telling stories and some of the stuff that's happened, because I could easily write a book about it. Easily.
Nobody would believe it. Some of the funny stuff like that my father used to tell me from his days, I never would have believed it unless I lived it, and I did.
Yeah, literally. It was like I was saying before this. I remember watching TV shows like Dad's Army and whatnot, thinking, oh, this is quite funny. And then, you do your training and all that. You get to unit and you're like, oh my God, it's really like that.
It really is. It really is. If you're thinking of enlisting, you're young enough to do so.
Good luck.
Good luck.
So give everyone what got you into music? Where did you first start out?
When did I first start out? God, that was a long time ago. I was about 16. It was around 1987. The Napalm Death album Scum had just come out. Totally changed my life. I mean, I'd never heard anything like it. There's really nothing out there like it now, right? And I was like, wow, man, I got to get in a band now. I want to be in a band. And it just turned out that these guys that I went to high school with had a band and they needed a vocalist. So I started doing all the death metal growls and the grindcore growls. And that's how we started. And then we started getting into more technical metal. And then two of the guys went to prison and that band broke up. So I got into another one. That one was a little more Anthrax, Testament style. Very technical. Those guys were really good. I couldn't keep up. I wasn't much of a singer at the time. I wasn't taking lessons. And that was around 1990, I want to say. Then in 92, I became involved in basically a Jane's Addiction type band, a band called Strange Karma. And that was a lot of fun. But again, I wasn't taking vocal lessons, so I wasn't able to stay up to speed with the growth of the band. And then I started playing drums for a punk band called Resist and Exist in like 91. And then after that band broke up, I took a very long break until about 2006. I mean, I had been doing little things here and there, but nothing steady. In 2006, my old death metal band got back together. And then our guitar player went to prison again. And from that point until about 2015, late 2015, early 2016, I was done with music. But my bass player buddy here, John, he convinced me to come back and give it another shot. So we started up a project, and about 7 years later, we decided, hey, let's do a side project, and we'll call it something else. So we came up with this huge list. You know those conference-sized paper pads? Like you can write. You can write crap on. You have to write real big so everybody can see. Well, we wrote a bunch of band names and song names, all in regular writing size, like 12 point, all up and down. There's like 6 rows and I don't know how many columns of band names and song names. And the one we decided on was this one, was Trenchgun, because we thought it was funny, because we also wanted to write some songs about historical events. You and I have talked about this before. I have a degree in history. I'm actually a trained historian, a trained academic. But also because we thought it would be a good way, a good vessel to just do something unique with what we were already doing, which was kind of heavy prog rock. But I took it I took it a step further, and I down-tuned my guitar, and I said, we're going to do it this heavy. and then we added dance elements and EDM and a bunch of drum and bass and jungle beats and just going ape with it, right? But over time, it's evolved into what it is now, which is a little bit more progressive, slower, heavy, sludgy, doomy.
I was going to say, though, you say it started off as more of a side project. With how it's taken off, is it like now your main focus? Because
it's my main focus. I abandoned the other project. I let my buddy know, hey, I'm done with this. You can do what you want to do with that music. If you need the lyrics, let me know. I'll write them out for you, or I take the ones I've already sent to you and use those. Those are good songs, but I want nothing to do with it anymore. I felt that I had more to say as Trenchgun, as that project, than I did with the other one, and it kind of shows in the fact that I personally have put out like 65 of our 70 songs. So
that was literally my next question. How do you write so many songs, record them, produce them, and all the business with them? How do you manage all that in such a short space of time? Because I remember when you put a few out and they were, I've released some new stuff, and then I checked it. I was like, oh yeah, let's have a look, and then like, wow, he's released probably more than I have he's done it in a week, more than I've done in my entire life.
Two ways that happens is, one, I live with a disability, so I have a lot of time on my hands. Two is I've completely, and you already know this too, you've already commented on it, I am completely obsessive about finishing these things.
Oh yes.
So I've learned to work very, very quickly, and I'm getting better at quality. I'm not quite where I want to be yet, but the quality has definitely improved just from practice. So much practice.
I'm surprised.
But how do I do
a song though? Because you, as you say, you are that obsessive with it. I'm like, just leave it alone. It's fine now. No, promise this is the last one. 10 takes later. I'm like, oh my god.
But does it show?
I mean, it sounds awesome. It sounded awesome 10 takes ago.
Well, I just want to give the best product that I possibly can. That's all. How do I put together so many songs? I have no idea. I just come up with an idea and I run with it until I'm done with it. And that's just how it's been.
But how did it evolve? Because you say you started off, like death metal, was it? Did you say?
That's where I started years ago. Yeah.
But now it's so varied. Literally, you've got that many. I hear influences from all over the place.
Oh, that's just because this project is like a vessel for my insanity when it comes to how much music I listen to, right?
Yeah.
So really, this band started when 1989 rolled around and Godflesh released their Street Cleaner album. I heard that and I was like, wow, I really need to do a band like that. Well, I never got a chance between 1989 and 2021 or whatever it was that we started Trenchgun. 2022. Yeah, we're less than a year. We're just over a year old. As this project. So yeah, in all that time, I never had a chance to start a band like that or do a project like that, and now I do. And now that I have the project, I'm like, it's like Victor von Frankenstein, digging up a dead body. And that's kind of how it works. I piece together whatever my influences are, which include Godflesh and Napalm Death and Esperanza Spalding and Sade and bands like that, and artists like that. And I just throw it all together and I go, okay, I hope this works. And I put it on.
I mean, we first met, we had an interview with Adrenaline Underground. I think that's pretty much how we met. Because when
Right.
I listened to one of your interviews and I was like, oh my God, he's a vet as well. Oh my God, I finally got a friend. That's literally what it was like. That was a while ago. And I remember in your interview,
I should reach out to him.
I certainly did. He'll understand
No,
me.
it was. He's been through this bullshit before. Yeah, dude. Dude, and it was a good thing you did because like you meet people here and there
Oh yeah.
that'll say they're a veteran and and you'll click with them a little bit and then they just kind of fuck off.
Yeah.
But in our case, in the way that you and I interacted, we've been building a not just a music relationship, but I would think a friendship as well, a certain kinship around that
Absolutely.
veteran status. And I think it's been one of the best things to come out of my venture into the indie undergrounds, indie music scene.
It's amazing, as you say, all the people you meet. I mean, I literally can't even count on one hand anymore the amount of people I've met on, social media who were in the same situation and just literally helping them out, saying, oh, I'll share this, or, oh, do you want to do a collaboration? Or, even just messages someone, that song is awesome,
Yeah.
literally next thing you know, oh, what do you think of this idea I'm working on? And then before you know it, you're trading ideas back and forth. Next thing you're working on one together and it just snowballs. It's great.
Yep. That's how it's been with everybody I've met so far, yourself included. I've met very, very few douche canoes. I think I've been fortunate because I read horror stories about other artists.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Having a run-in with somebody who thinks that they're the next prince in the revolution,
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh God, yeah. You read these, and at least I read them. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's me interrupting.
I read them and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I don't mess with people like that. And so far so good. I've had a good run.
This is one of the few things I actually like about them. You of all people know I hate the whole streaming thing and I moan about it all the time. But at the same time, modern technology has made it more accessible to form bands. Like I was in a band, used to argue, we got on at the time, but then, drama gets in the way and all that. And by the end, it's each member's more of a hindrance on each other. When you listen to what, band members will go out and do afterwards when they split up, a lot of the time it's very diverse. Whereas online, you don't have to, you can kind of cherry pick almost the genre. A lot of it will mix, when you're in a band, you kind of have to compromise. Online, if you don't like someone's music, you don't have to work with them.
Right. But you can just sidestep that. Oh, that you might enjoy the music. Oh, that's cool for you. Yeah. And then you move along. And that's been another aspect that's been a lot of fun. But one group, a pair of brothers from somewhere in the UK, I forget where. A pair of brothers. They have a tendency to listen to everything, but they write in the way they write, And yeah. I think that dynamic works for them very well, and it's kind of a dynamic one would aspire to if you're in a band if you're working with somebody else. You can have all these different contacts and influences and listen to all these different types of music, but you and your writing partner do your thing. You stick to what you're doing. A lot of us have a problem doing that, and myself included. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am for and against the whole solo artist thing. A while ago, I used to be like, oh, I've got total freedom. It's great, And then after a while, it was kind of like, oh, but
holy fuck, I got to do all this stuff myself.
Yeah, and that's the main one. But also, you can't really play live, which kind of sucks because I'm kind of old fashioned. I won't just stand there singing to a backing track and all that. I actually got asked by a sergeant major at our last Christmas party, and I was like, fuck no. I ain't doing glorified karaoke. That's literally what it would have been as well, in a tent full of a load of squaddies who aren't really rock fans. I was like, yeah, that's not
Yeah,
gonna.
that's gonna fly well.
Yeah. So I got out of that one, thank God.
Oh, good.
But what kit do
Well,
you use? Sorry, go on.
oh, I was starting to talk, and then there was some kind of interference.
Ah, no
But
worries. No, I was just saying, what sort of kit do you use? Because you've got a really diverse sound, like loads of your songs. That's what's really impressive as well. Hardly any of them will sound the same. You'll listen to one, you're like, oh, it's the death metal guy. Then you listen to it, and then slightly up more my street, oh, it's the grunge guy, and but it always sounds very different. Do you use the same guitars, or have you got literally a huge collection of them, or?
I use the same guitars but different amps. I have a 6-string Jackson. Off the top of my head, I don't know which model it is, and I have a 7-string. And I use one of those two guitars. I use a free to download and free to use. It's kept up to date. Cakewalk is my DAW, my digital audio workstation. For those of you that don't know, but I use that for my DAW. Like I said, it's completely free and it's full on a professional suite. And then I just go through and I use either stock amp emulators, and
Yeah.
I go from there. The only thing I use separately is a drum machine program. It's Hydrogen. It's also free, and it's worked for me very well. So despite the fact that everything sounds different, it's just me choosing different amps and different setups so that I get a different tone. Not all that different, but slightly or just enough to know that I've made a change in the way this is going to sound.
No, it's great because, as I say, you get that many different sounds off it. I personally fall into the trap and, oh, I'm going to do something completely different this time, and then I'll start recording a song, and then before I know it, I'm putting my old effects back on it. I'm using the same guitar, and
Right.
and next thing, I don't like going out my comfort zone sometimes. And before you know it, I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of like the other one.
Wow. Well, we do derive our own material. We're our biggest ripoffs. I've done it for sure on several songs. But the idea is, at least for me, is to have something slightly different in the mix, large enough for a person to hear, but small enough to make not much of a difference. If you hear anything in the background, that's my elderly parents. They're rolling out for the day.
Yeah, no worries. Bring them in.
Yeah. Hey, Dad, you want to talk to my army buddy?
And he's like, those damn limeys over there.
Well, it would have been more like those damn limeys, because he has a very heavy Mexican accent.
Cool. That's literally half what we do all the time. It's not even writing music. It's taking the piss out of each other's accents. Like, you
That is
bloody
our...
what, mate? You what?
Oh, that's right. Totally forgot. I was supposed to randomly yell "proper" at you.
Oh, bloody hell, old chap.
Like I'm from Birmingham.
I have to listen to that nearly every day.
I've been practicing it. Is it good? I've been practicing that one.
You'd fit in great.
All right then. I'm really chuffed, mate. Chuffed to meet you.
That one was actually quite good. No, I was telling you about my West Virginian friends when one day he was like, "You alright, Lewis?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. What's up?" And he's like, "Oh man, this mean ass rattlesnake was on my drive, so I took out my 6-shooter, put a couple of rounds in him, chucked him on the barbecue. Now I got me some real fine eating." And then proceeds to send me a picture of this rattlesnake on the barbecue.
That he literally killed on and it's on the Barbie.
I was like, wow.
Wow. I get a lot of food access where I live, but not rattlesnake.
I can't say I've ever tried it.
Yeah, I've I don't want to. Or squirrel.
I'll
Doesn't
just
seem.
stick with the tea and scones.
I think I'll stick to tacos and burritos myself.
Yeah, tacos are good.
They are.
So where do you see this project going? Like the whole Trenchgun thing, do you have like an end in sight with it, or is it just it's almost like the persona now? That's what you see it carrying on as now.
It's somewhere in between, really. There is no end game. Like if somebody said we're gonna stop now, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not. You know.
Yeah.
But because I don't need you now.
I'm a one-man army.
I'm a one-man army like I was when I was in the army. No, I'm gonna keep going until the wheels fall off, until I'm either too old, which isn't very far away, or I just get bored. And so far, I have not gotten bored. I just actually redid an older song that I meant to send to you, and I forgot because I am old. But yeah, I got to send that to you. But I just recently redid one, and it came out a lot better than I would have anticipated. And I stripped it down, man. I used a whopping 3 guitar tracks. And that's just, 3. And then I just layered them and used different amps. And then one bass track, and I layered that. And then that was it. One drum track.
No, it's just great. Like the whole, for example, oh, below a minute, my mic just fell over. So the oh, blimey. So it's like when we did that punk rock version of Siege You, that was the first time I kind of got an inkling of how you do your writing and mixing and all that.
Oh yeah.
By the time it was done, I sat back and I was like, this guy has made me look shit. He is good.
That's not true, man. I've just had a lot of practice, and I just know how to put things together. That's it. That's all.
Oh, it sounded awesome though, and now we're working on a few tracks together.
Yeah.
That sounded awesome.
We've progressed from punk rock to grunge.
If it's up to me, it'll stay at grunge. I'm waiting for you to push me into psychedelic disco opera or something like that.
You were gonna do a psychedelic album?
No. I want to do a psychedelic.
Oh, you
album,
want to?
But I wouldn't know where to start, and I keep asking Grim because he's good at that type of thing. But
that dude's busy.
So far. Yeah, he's a very busy guy.
Yeah, he just started a new gig, so he's even more busy than he thought.
When he's not writing tunes for wrestlers.
He's into wrestling. Oh, I love that dude.
Yeah, he's awesome. Now, I've always said, though, I'd love to, if I could do anything, I'd love to bring back good old-fashioned 1950s style rock and roll.
Oh, man, that's just, rockabilly.
I know, but, with the exact same sound, the instruments, all that, I just...
Yeah, but I know a guy who started a punk rockabilly thing. It ended up picking up the genre name Psychobilly. So he just combined his love of punk with his love of rockabilly, and his bass player plays an upright old-fashioned bass. He plays a 1950s something. I forget. It's one of those big hollow body deals, right?
Oh yeah.
And their drummer had his kit, dude. The drum kit is just a bass, a snare, a ride, hi-hat, and one cymbal. That's what they play.
But it's insane, like how, you can interchangeable they are. I mean, I remember hearing, when the Sex Pistols covered Eddie Cochran, something else, and Come On Everybody. I remember first time hearing that. I think I was like 17 years old and being absolutely mind blown that it wasn't written by them and that it was an already existing song. Heard the original. I'm like, whoa, this one's just as good as their version.
That's common though, dude. Like when Joan Jett covered I Want to Be Your Dog. Like I had never heard Iggy Pop and the Stooges. I was kind of young at the time. And I was like, oh, that's a great song. And then I heard Iggy Pop's and I was like, oh, crap, they're both good.
Funny you should mention that song. That was the first ever song I sang on when I was in a band.
Oh,
first
nice,
ever gig. Yeah,
nice.
we had this really, really egotistical singer. He was a really nice guy, but the voice just wasn't there. But he thought he was literally the
He thought he
next
was
Freddie.
Prince in the Revolution.
Oh yeah, literally. But yeah, and I'd kind of been practicing it and like, oh, let Lewis have a go on it. So I was like, yeah, and probably didn't even sound good, but it got a little bit of applause. Then we did it at another gig and got a lot of applause for that one. I was like, thank you very much. Turned into Elvis for a
Thank you
second
very
there.
much.
Thank you very much. Lewis has left the building.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I think the brim of my hat just hit my microphone. Did you hear it?
I heard something.
Yeah, okay, that was it. Good, it didn't come through too loud. See, there it is.
Something
Anyway,
I did mean to ask. When you was in the army, did you find it, oh, I don't know how to word it, almost like creativity, that's not even a word, creativity. You know what I'm getting at. Did you find that your creativity was stifled? Did you find it as liberating, kind of an escape? Because here, there's like no one else who does music. So when I'm done for the day and I'm back in my room, which I've converted into my studio, that's like my escape. But at the same time, it's kind of like no one understands, man.
no one gets it, bro.
Yeah,
There were several musicians on my post, and those guys got together and jammed. But I was married. I was the only married musician, and so I always had to go home to the wife and take care of home stuff. So I never really got a chance. And then the army being the army, it's that the indoctrination level is so high. Is it like, oh, you don't want to be different, do you? You don't want to stand out. And then on top of that, I was in a heavy cav unit, a mechanized cavalry unit, and we had a very high op tempo. We were always out. We were
yeah,
always rotating somewhere. So it was like 30 days in garrison and then 30 days out, and then 30 days in garrison, 30 days out. So it was really, really tough to do new music while I was in.
yeah,
That's for sure. Like, I don't know how the other guys did it. I really
yeah.
don't.
No, I'm kind of fortunate because we're a high readiness unit, but I don't tend to go out as much as I used to. I think kind of having a family is kind of like a get out of jail free card a little bit.
Hmm, that's
So
cool.
yeah, it is at the
That's cool
moment.
for you.
It's
All the other
great.
guys are like, Tivey's an ass. Where is he? Tivey would know how to fix this. Call him up.
No one has ever said that ever.
That's of all the things that have never been uttered ever.
Yeah, Tivy knows what he's doing.
That guy. Oh,
Oh
that's
man.
hilarious.
So
How did
so
you
what
even get started in this whole mess?
what in the military?
No, well, yeah, that too. But music.
Oh, with me. Funnily enough, it was I think I was about 15. Yeah, I'd have been about 15. I just got bought a, long story short, I got some friends at our school was split between, you had the kids who were into hip hop and all yo 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 and all that. And then there was these really weird looking kids who had long hair, looked homeless type thing. And I was like, oh, they look cool. I'm going to hang out with them. So that's kind of how I got into that and introduced to, rock tunes. I mean, growing up, I liked grunge. When I was must have been about 8, 9, I really got into Soundgarden. I remember hearing them and being like, oh, these are great. And then, kind of getting back into it, meeting them lot. And then I got bought it was like this greatest hits heavy metal album type thing. And it had Paranoid Black Sabbath on it. And from the second I heard that song, I was like, I need to get a guitar. I need to learn, which was a bit of a surprise because when my mum asked what I wanted for Christmas, it was either my 16th birthday or Christmas. I can't remember. Um, she was like, but you're not musical. You haven't got a clue. You wouldn't know what you're doing. And I was like, yeah, but that's what I want. And to be fair, I still don't really know what I'm doing, but I've stuck with it since I was 16. It did evolve though. So it went from heavy metal to, went very quickly into the whole punk rock 1970s style. So I was a little bit of an outcast by the end of school because everything was fascist, man. And then, yeah, and then when I got to college and university, I kind of got back into the whole grunge thing, and I guess I never progressed past 21. He says at 32 years of age.
I think I still call myself a 12-year-old, so you're good. And I'm
But yeah.
51.
Oh, I keep reminding my missus she's 27. I'm like, oh, all great musicians die at 27. I'm like, you better not write anything good this year.
Don't commit suicide.
Oh God.
She's like, what are you talking about, you asshole?
She calls me that anyway.
Oh, just to call you?
Yeah.
That's like her pet name for you. Oh, also. Also. Yeah, I gotta say it the way you guys say it.
No, but
properly.
You say that though, because of the internet and YouTube and all that. It's so Americanized nowadays. You know, my stepdaughter will come downstairs and it will like, well, where did you put it? What have you lost? She's like, oh, it was on the couch. And you're like, the what? She's like, the couch. And I'm like, you mean the sofa? And then like, you know, something else happened. Oh, what happened? I tripped and fell on the sidewalk. I'm like, you mean the pavement? No, the sidewalk. I'm like, oh my God.
See, you got that whole Southern thing though. Like that's not the way the majority of us, speak.
I don't know what she watches. It's, yeah.
I'm like, it's like a sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
Sidewalk. I just call it a sidewalk. I mean, pavement.
Pavement. There you go. There you go.
I use that. I use that one too. I say tarmac.
Yeah, we have tarmac.
I say asphalt and tarmac.
Oh no, it's our spelling that you don't like.
No, I just make fun of it. What's interesting though is since we're both history buffs, you know that the national language or the way the Constitution was written and the bylaws and all that crap was almost German. Like literally, they were voting on whether they should write it in English or German because they wanted to believe that. Our country's founders wanted to give the finger to the king.
But I read a thing a while back. Isn't it like a certain percentage of all Americans have like German ancestry? It's quite a high percentage. I thought, oh, it'll only be about 20% or something like that, and the rest will be Dutch. When
you look at especially East Coast folks, there's a lot of Germans, lots and lots of Germans. There's a lot of Dutch and French and of course English. You get English everywhere, but
unfortunately.
Yeah, well, you guys got around, but yeah, you'll find a lot of German last names, like Roethlisberger, right? That quarterback for that football team, I think it's the Steelers. You get people with names like that. Yeah. But then of course by region, you might get more Spanish last names like mine.
Yeah.
I have I'm half Mexican, so I have a Latino name. I have a Spanish name. A lot of Spanish in my neck of the woods, But if you go a little bit further north from here, you get more English again.
You got names like Samuel Brown.
Harry Brown or John Lewis Tivey. Oh,
Victor Augustus Cromwell.
No, not that bad. Not that bad. At least not in my experience. It's more like Samuel Williams or names like that.
Oh, I must have met, I don't know how many Samuel Williams in real life.
In real life.
Yeah. I think I've met about, what's the name? There's like names like James Davis. I must have known about 10 of them.
Yeah, well, James is the number one most common name in the English language, James.
That was what was supposed to be my name originally, and then my mum said it was too common, so she made it my middle name.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, didn't escape that one.
Good call, Mum. Good call.
But have you noticed like a difference between sort of the fan base, across the pond, as we were saying earlier about how accessible music is now because of the
Yeah,
internet.
yeah.
'Cause-
What's interesting for me, and maybe it's similar for you, but in reverse.
yeah.
Um, I have more UK fans than I do American fans.
I was literally just about to say that.
The-
Me and Grim were having this conversation. He's got fans he's big in Europe. He's big. Apparently, he's very big in Japan. Me, no one seems to give a damn in the UK. It's like, what's going on? People in America. Oh, I love your stuff. I'm like, why don't they back home though?
What's wrong with these guys? Yeah,
Yeah. What did I do to you?
yeah. I think it has to do with, being underground and that's where you're from. So
Yeah.
nobody gives a rat's ass about you. It's everybody outside
Yeah.
that bubble that cares about you. My
It
old
just
project with the same guy, we were big in Nairobi in Kenya. Like, I'm not even kidding, dude, like huge.
No, you'd be surprised. Every time when I check, literally every week and month without fail, there's some people who are streaming me constantly from Kuwait. I'm like, is
Yeah,
is
but
like alternative rock
why?
grunge big over there? I'm like, thank you very much. I put a post out a while ago. It's like, whoever you are, I love you. But of all the places that I think there was, I think the weirdest ones I've had were like
I love
Nigeria,
you.
Kuwait, and Slovenia is quite another popular one, but not in the UK.
Oh wow, that's wild. Like places you just like don't expect. Why
Yeah.
can't it be, just up the road? Why can't it be somebody there? I
Oh
think
man,
I
they'd like
think
me to play a
between
gig for them.
Nairobi, right?
Yeah.
Well, between Nairobi and Spain, those were the two where first, my old project, the one that I just finished, uh, that was big at, and Trenchgun is doing well in Spain.
Hmm.
We're doing well in Spain, which is interesting. So
It's weird though. A lot of the time, there's no real pattern to it either.
yeah, yeah, not at all. You can market all day long to Los Angeles, and in freaking Basque Country, it's like that's where we're gonna hit.
Yeah. No,
It's
it
like
was like
weird.
last year. It was like last sort of autumn time, I guess, late summer, and I was checking all this stuff, and I was having like interviews and whatnot with. It was all like South America. I'm like,
Oh, that's
blimey,
interesting. That's cool.
that couldn't be further across the other side of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's mental. Have you
It
noticed?
would have been more awesome. It would have been way more awesome if you got like tons and tons of interviews from Argentina.
Yeah, those damn Brits. But
Let's talk to this guy.
have you noticed like the whole live music scene? I know COVID was a bit of a party poop for everyone, but it's almost like it's dying. It certainly feels like that here in the UK. I mean,
It's
when we used to,
actually, go ahead.
no, just saying, like, I remember probably about 10 years ago, we used to be able to, oh, they're full, they've got a band playing. Oh, let's call this place. Oh, yep, get a gig then and there. Now I can probably think of about, I could probably only count on one hand the amount of live music venues in my hometown. There used to be tons. We used to do festivals. There was a guy who used to put all his money on the line. Pretty much used to remortgage his house and to
Hmm.
do this massive festival, and then it didn't pay off. And unfortunately, the guy lost everything apparently on the last one he did.
Oh, that
But
sucks.
yeah, but it's like it's just died a death almost. I don't know whether COVID, because I that was during my hiatus period when I wasn't doing music during COVID, which I probably should have done. So that would have been a great year to write stuff. But
It
you
would
know
have.
what I mean? It was it's literally like it's died a death. I was the other day I was googling old places where I used to play, and a lot of them they're either closed down, permanently shut down. One of my favorite venues is now converted into a block of houses and flats and apartments and stuff like that, and it's just sad. Is it kind of the same with you lot, or is it just a
Not at
UK?
all.
No.
No, not at all. It's actually picking. It's actually picked up. It's kind of weird. It's like the exact opposite. So for anybody that doesn't know, I live in Los Angeles, California. I live in California, and I had to throw that in there. The biggest venues are all back on task. Some of the smaller venues, but that are still regionally very famous, are back on task.
Yeah.
It's so open for business right now for a musician that this one bar that I used to karaoke host at is hosting live bands every weekend, Friday and Saturday. And there's another one just up the road from here that has always had bands going on every time their doors were open. And right when the whole COVID restrictions lifted, they were back at it. They were putting bands on again. So here in the LA area, it's actually gotten bigger, almost to the same level as it was in the late 80s. And that was huge.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I know a couple of bands out here that are touring around, playing around because they just put out albums. The guys in Pythagoras, that's the name of the band. They're like a math death metal band. Math metal. No, serious. Cool. It's like a thing.
No, that's pretty cool.
They're like a math metal, death metal thing. And then this prog act, Mantic, those guys are just amazing. They don't even have a singer. It's just all instrumental. And I don't know why nobody picked up the instrumental act again, because these guys do. They 10-minute songs, and it doesn't even feel that long. They'll do an hour set. It's only 5 songs. You're like, yeah, it's so awesome. But yeah, great bands are floating around, and it's picking back up again. So
I was just saying about some of the underground bands, it's almost like, they say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Some of the stuff I'm hearing at the moment, when I used to be around playing live about 10 years ago and all that, we were kind of a bit like an outcast band, because we tried to be a little too much Alice in Chains, kind of that type of vibe. The guitarist wanted to be Metallica, I wanted to be Nirvana. It kind of mixed in the middle. That was the compromise. I think the drummer wanted to be Take That, pop bands and all that.
Right.
So it was a bit of a weird mix. But a lot of the bands we used to play alongside of, most of them, they were like really, they were good, don't get me wrong, a lot of them were good, but it was just very generic, I hate myself, my girlfriend's dumped me, I want to kill myself type thing. That was literally what the songs were like. And it was, the first few were good, but when you hear it on every set, it's like, oh man, it was the proper
now punk. I want to kill myself.
No, it was the proper punk.
Actually, break up with me so I can feel better. Sorry.
No, just saying, it was always the punk venues that we seem to always get into. Like I was saying to you that time when we played this venue that we always were quite well received at, and then one day we went and everyone just stood there like ignoring us or looking blankly at us, and we're like, what's going on? Why don't they care?
Oh, right. You told me this story.
Yeah. And then we looked around and it's just full of like death metal bands. I'm like, oh. So literally after that, detuned all the guitars, and I literally all night just screamed everything, just shouted. It wasn't even coherent. Loved it. And I was like, well, whatever floats your boat.
Right. It was
but now,
you guys fit in as the punk band.
But what I'm noticing nowadays, a lot of these tracks that artists are putting out, not only are they like insanely good, they're almost paying homage to the old days as well. There's some bands that I've been hearing on indie radios and places like that where they could give Metallica a run for their money, and that's not an exaggeration. I heard one the other day, and I just sat there in absolute awe, like, how are they not signed? What is going on?
Yeah, I've met so many. The same thing, dude. Same thing. If you've never checked out the band Occult Fracture, they're from the East Coast here in the States. I forget where. It's like Geddy Lee joined Motorhead.
Oh wow!
Like the singer is a woman, and she has Geddy Lee's voice. Like it's powerful. It's awesome, and I love that band. And they were supposed to come to LA on a tour, and I don't know where they are. They're somewhere in the country somewhere, touring around. But yeah, dude, like you get a band like that, and then you get like the Crom. I don't know if you're familiar with those guys.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, they play Perth a lot apparently.
Yeah.
Dude, great band, and you have these two different genres basically of rock to choose from any day of the week, and they'll give you your money's worth, right? And that's just two of them.
Yeah. And
That's
there's
just two of them,
loads
man.
as well. That's the great thing as well. It's almost like the internet's liberated everyone. I remember the first time I heard Elephants with Shotguns, and I was just sat there with I think my jaw hit the
Yes.
floor with a
Yeah.
giant thud. I was like, wow.
I actually felt like throwing something and just quitting.
Yeah.
First time I heard those guys, I was like, damn it.
Oh, when you played on when you played on an indie station, oh, and this is this band, and they're doing all the fancy guitar licks and all. I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. And then and here's Lewis Tivey, and then it's just my bow 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 bow, and then and afterwards that was a great song. And now and then they'll play the next one. It's all like really fancy technical stuff, and I'm like, wow, they couldn't have sandwiched me, between someone slightly more on my level. These
Right.
guys they were like the Mozarts of electric guitar. It was
That's
mental. But
dude,
it's
dude.
really,
That's that. Remember I told you recently that happened to us on a show, on a radio show.
yeah.
They put us between a country, like full blown country song, and then something kind of dancey, something like early 80s industrial dancey. And right in between us is that song Willful Ignorance that's down tuned to F sharp. And it's loud, it's in your face, and then that was, here's the Nazi hating Californians. And
Down with
now
the
here's
fascists.
and now here's so and so with it's like, wow.
No, I was on one a while ago, and it was like, oh, calling it, I guess the closest you could say was like pop, maybe. And then it was like rockabilly and stuff like that. And then one of my heavy ones slap bang in the middle, and afterwards there was like an awkward silence. Like, well, that was loud.
Yep.
It sure is. Thanks for
That's
watching.
exactly what it felt like. Like I was like, whoa. And then it was all soft again. And you're like, why did they do that? But hey, I'm not the programmer, so
No. It's the exposure that matters.
yeah. No, and
Do
it's
you
cool. I love that station, by the way. I really do. It was just an interesting choice of where to put Trenchgun in all of that.
do you find it frustrating though, the whole, like, say 10, probably even more than 10 years ago now, that's probably when it started to go downhill a little bit, but you used to be able to, it was all about making the music, playing shows, and then you kind of built up your fan base organically. Now it's just so much work. You've got to manage your social medias, you've got to pay this guy, you've got to hand out cash to this guy. Meanwhile, you're getting emails going, hello dear, you are amazing, I can make you a rock star, and
Yeah,
stuff like that, if you pay me. And it's like,
yeah.
and a lot of people quit because they'll spend ages on, writing an EP, an album, whatever, and then they won't get any streams. There's actually a website called Forgotify that apparently
Forgotify.
yeah, that streams
I love
songs
it.
that have never been played, and apparently it's like 20% of all songs on Spotify have never been played once.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
It's mental
That's like a lot of songs.
when you think about how many
Truthfully,
songs are actually on there. It's
truthfully, it's always been that way.
yeah.
It's more in your face as an artist now than it was like say 10, 15 years ago. The reason why it's in your face now is because most of us have to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't have the money to throw out there, you know. And even if we did, we're not gonna because we have other priorities.
Yeah.
Back in the day, before the internet, that's how old I am, Lewis. The internet wasn't around when I was doing it. I had actually taken a hiatus from music before the internet came along.
Damn.
Yeah. Don't judge me.
The first computer I used was Windows 95, so don't worry.
95.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that was always there. You always had to find a marketer, but it was always like word of mouth. Like they didn't advertise. If you wanted to find somebody for marketing, promoters didn't. They didn't know who you were unless you approached them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was back in the day, so it was equally as difficult. But now your band is also your marketing engine. It's also your promoting engine. And in, for instance, your case, you're doing all of that plus writing music, plus writing lyrics, plus you're singing, plus you're putting your image out there. All that stuff just piled into one person instead of spread out among different entities to help you out, right?
It's like having
So
a second full-time job, isn't it? Sometimes it's kind
yes,
of like,
yeah, yeah.
whew.
And there are services out there. The radio station I was just thinking of, they have a promotion scheme, but they don't push it into your email. They don't push it
Yeah.
at you. It's just there for you to use if you want it, right?
Hmm.
If you buy a subscription, they do extra promotion for you. Why? Because you're giving them money. You don't even have to ask them. They just do it, right?
Yeah.
So that they're actually doing it right. Mike Five from Lights and Lines, he does it right. You know, he does it exactly how you would want somebody to do it. If he signs you to his label, he takes on the onus of all that work for you so that your creativity, A, isn't stifled, and B, is allowed to actually flourish within an environment you create yourself. So there are people out there like that. You just have to meet them or find them. You know, and they're reasonable, they're cool, they're not all up in your all up in your DMs. Hey, bro, give me $30. You know,
I must
I've
get
had
about 10
I've
a
had them
day at
too.
one point. 10 a day it was. It was
I
like,
told you how I took care of it, right? I don't
we,
get them like hardly at all. I get one, like
oh,
maybe
with the
one.
song you wrote.
Yeah, the song I wrote.
No,
It's
but
like,
no, but it's
stop
when
pissing
it's
me the fuck off.
no, but it's when I did a parody video, of them, say, literally mocking them, and I had actual these fake promoters liking the video and then DMing me. I was like, what? Like, get the hint. And I'm like, I
I
refer you back to previous video.
I think between the song and me telling people to fuck off, has pretty much like killed that for me. So like I don't get it. I don't get those DMs anymore. I don't get the likes. I've reduced SoundCloud to almost nothing, so I don't get the bots clicking on my shit.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
all that crap. You know, I've gone more to YouTube. I finally joined Spotify, like yourself. Um, I finally went through DistroKid at your suggestion. Actually, happens to be a good idea because now I can just put stuff out and not worry about anything else. They
Yeah.
put it up for me, and they built a YouTube channel for me. So now I have two, crap like that. I'm happy about that. That was a good investment. Other services are not such a good investment. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh yes. I got ripped off a little bit by them and others as well. But it's the learning curve.
Right, right. You have to find out. So
Yeah.
basically, I use that particular service as a repository for just stuff that I put out, and that's their job now. I don't give a crap about their rankings. I don't give a crap about their promotions. It's all nonsense anyway.
It's fake anyway. I've not been on it in about probably 6 months properly, and I get emails all the time. Don't lose your spot on our charts.
Yeah,
Join now
yeah.
and pay this month. And I'm like, I've been like, I've gone.
Congratulations, Louis Tivey. You're on our most played Staffordshire frickin' playlists or whatever.
It said I was number one at one point, and I was there like, am I though? Am I?
Am I? We
But
we hit number one too, and oddly enough with Trenchgun we hit number one, but the other project never did.
it's bizarre. I've juggled between positions 1 to 5, but it's been stuck at between 2 to 3 mostly for the past year. Haven't done anything. I can't even upload many new tracks on it because they have like a limit. They're like, oh, the file size is too big, or oh, the song's too long. And I'm like, well, guess
Oh,
you're not having it then.
I could tell you now how to get around that file limit, the size limits.
Email me
Just
afterwards.
yeah, I will. It actually turns out to be much easier than you think, but yeah, I'll email you afterward.
Sweet. So,
Anywho.
so before we finish up, what are your plans like in long term, short term? Where do you see the project going? You say you don't plan on giving up anytime soon, and are you working on any new albums, any EPs, anything like that? Maybe in a music video.
Maybe. I've been trying to get some guys to do a music video. One guy that I know has excellent equipment for it, but he's a very busy dude, so it's kind of up in the air with music videos, like actual us appearing in a music video.
Yeah.
Short term, the album writing club put on by Lights and Lines is going on again. We participated last year. That's how I met everybody, except yourself. I met you through another means. So we're participating in that, the album writing club challenge again. You write an album in a month. It's in the month of May. So that's short term. There will be a new Trenchgun album out sooner than you think. And then long term is, like I said, I'm just going to keep rolling till the wheels fall off. I'm actually starting to see a little bit of traction is the word I'll use with Trenchgun, and it's actually starting to look pretty good. We got nominated for an award last year. Hopefully we'll get another one. It's looking good. I'm enjoying myself too. So.
And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, because you don't want to do something you don't enjoy. What's the point?
Right. He's like, oh, this fool again.
I mean, it's not like someone's got a gun to the back of your head. Write more. Write something. Right. Play it.
And if they did, I'd be like, what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? Would you like something soft? Here you go. Oh yeah, I owe you a little bit of Tennessee, don't I? I forgot to give you the Tennessee treatment. Man, I tell you,
chap, that was a bloody good interview. Next one we do will be even better, eh? What?
I tell you what, you just call me anytime you want, Lewis.
Well, I say, oh chap, toodaloo. See you later, alligator. Toodle pip.
Chip, pip, pip, chitty-o, and all that rot.
You should move here. You'd fit in great.
Man, they would probably think I'm English and then start like speaking normal. Oh, your American accent's so good.
It's like that meme we saw on the internet a while ago where it's like, I'm English people when they get home after work and don't have to do the stupid accent anymore, and they're like sighing and relieved.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That was a good one.
Oh God. Oh, that's better.
Oh, thank God.
Right. It's been a pleasure. We'll catch up soon.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Call, write, whatever you want. And I owe you an email, so I'll send that.
Oh yes. Don't forget to check Trenchgun out on all social media, folks. Twitter, YouTube, You've got Facebook, haven't you?
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
And the big one, Bandcamp. Support this guy. He's good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Right. Tivey and Trenchgun have left the building. Good night.